crying? Are you crying because you can't claim on my books? We need to talk about the future, specifically 2021, the year in which we will not self-sabotage with books and we will drink more water. Because you think you're sad, but you're probably sad and dehydrated. Hi guys, it's Leanne and I suck. Got an advert, just a fact. In fairness, most of my suckiness, suckitude, crap, humanness has been down to 2020. But nevertheless, the transformation must occur in 2021 or things are gonna hit critical mass. So I'm here today to bring to you my bookish goals for 2021 in the hopes that if I put it on the internet and I tell you people that I will in some way hold myself accountable. Hasn't worked for the last 5 years, but you gotta give me credit for being a trier. My first goal for the past, I don't know how many years, and I'm also not going to depress myself by looking at past footage to find out. Also, if we think that the ginger's excessive, some of the past Leanne hairstyles, just no. Let's just assume that for the past 5 years maybe, my tip-top goal, the biggest goal, has always been to top the amount of books that I read in the previous year. This is the first year since actually tracking it that I have not done that. I have in fact read almost half of what I read last year. And I'm here today to tell you that that is fine. Like, my brain says it's not, but it's a filthy dirty liar because it is totally fine. There has been a global pandemic. Nobody has the first clue how to feel about any of it. And so a lot of us, I think, who have normal routines of reading lots of books have either topped that and have read excessively more because they have avoided all other reality with books, and wow, how I wish I was in that camp, having more regrets now. And then the rest of us went the other way, where our reading kind of completely stopped. We went to a safer, calmer place somewhere else. In my case, it was just mindless TV and video games. And my shop, which is an ever-present wonderful joy, but was also a thing that I used to flog myself with this year. However you managed your reading in the pandemic, that's okay. We'll talk a little bit about my management of my books in another point shortly. Anyway, my goal for 2021 is to read 100 books. That's it. It's a nice round number. I am going to read 100 books. If it kills me. Okay, in retrospect, that was a little bit like when I left 2019 by being like, bring it on 2020, and then it did. Let's just find some wood to touch and we'll just move on. Pretend that I didn't challenge anything. I wasn't going to make this my next point, but I may as well just insert it here because it seems to be the best place. At the start of this year, when the pandemic hit, I stopped buying books, and then the floodgates opened and all of the not buying books turned into the massive piles beside me, which I have not hauled yet, but I need to because they're taking up half of my floor. I am absolutely not calling myself out for doing that because, as I've said, however you have managed the pandemic is the right way for you. I, like a lot of other people, found that in the second half of this year I went completely nutso. I had full lockdown breakdown when I'd been managing quite well up until that point, and I just made myself feel better with new shiny things. But one of the things that I realised when I was in this like self-imposed don't buy any books thing was that I was quite enjoying it. Not just enjoying the amount of money that I was able to, you know, put aside that I wasn't spending on books, because let's admit the practical concern, books are and should rightfully be expensive. But also I was kind of enjoying the fact that I was back to shopping my own shelves. And several years ago I remembered that I did a book buying ban for several months, and I did a series of videos that I called Most Anticipated From My Shelves, shopping my own shelves. And it made me look at some of the books that I've had on here for a really long time and kind of decide whether I was still excited about them or not. So all of that being said, in 2021, for the first 6 months, I am not going to buy any books. There, I have told the internet, I have held myself accountable. That way I feel like I can kind of counterbalance all of the books that came in at the very end of this year when I had pandemic misery and was just buying everything that I wanted. And also I can make sure that I get to some of the backlist titles on my shelves, because I don't just want to be reading the new shiny books that come out every year. I want to be reading some of the titles that I've picked up because they're beloved by the people that I love. So that brings me on to the way that I am going to be reading next year, and the big announcement that I mentioned in the title of this video. For the last 2 years, I think, I have run a TBR challenge for myself called Stack It. If you're new here, the principle of Stack It is that I would pull books off of my shelves, always physical books, pull books off of my shelf, make a stack, and whatever order they were in that stack, I had to read from top to bottom. And if I came to a book that I actually didn't want to read, then the chances are that that was a book that I was no longer actually excited for, and therefore I had to unhaul it. And that worked really well, and I unhauled quite a lot of books, and I came to a lot of realizations about my reading. I am still going to be doing a version of Stack It because you guys love it, and I love it too. It really forces me to read the books that are already on my shelves. However, I was finding that what I was doing for Stack It was I was pulling a lot of physical books off of my shelf. I was making a massive stack of them, and then I was getting like halfway through the stack and finding I was getting really demotivated, and my audiobooks and my Kindle books were getting shunted to the side. I was just never thinking about them, because when I was making stacks, it was all about looking at my shelves and seeing which books on my shelves I wanted to read. So for 2021, I am going to be doing 2 things. I am going to be doing Stack It for physical books on my shelves, but it's going to be a smaller Stack It. Tops 5 books every month, and the rest of that month I'm going to be able to read however and whatever I want. And that should ensure that my mood reading part of my brain gets to do what it wants, and that I get to read all of the other formats that I want, but also that I have this stack that I have to get through, and if I don't, I have to unhaul them. And then the big exciting thing that I'm going to be doing is next year I am going to be doing A Year of Readathons. I really love readathons. I love putting together TBRs for readathons. I love trying to find things to fit the prompts. I love joining in with everybody else, but one of the things that I find about readathons is that there's always a bingo board. There's always a sort of end goal in mind. I would get so focused on those rules that I would just forget to have fun, and that's definitely just the way that my brain is wired. So what I'm going to be doing is a monthly readathon for myself every month. Sometimes that readathon is going to be themed. Sometimes I am going to pull prompts from various different places for that readathon. But every month I will be putting it together myself from prompts that I've enjoyed, and I'm going to let you know what that is going to be the month before, so that you guys can join in with me if you like. So January's theme, to keep it gentle for all of us, is going to be based on a colour palette, so keep your eyes peeled, and I will be telling you more about that very soon, because January's, we just want to gently slide on in to January very softly. Now, as the deep and devoted fan of self-analysis that I am, I also recognise that 2021 is going to be a hell of a difficult year. And what I anticipate is going to happen is that I am at several different points going to get into a reading slump. I didn't used to believe in the term reading slump because I knew for myself that when I got into that mood, it was generally caused by something. It was caused by external stress, it was caused by not having time, it was caused by not choosing books that were actually working for me. But this year I really fully accepted and committed to the idea of reading slumps. I admitted that I had them, that I could see them coming, and that I sometimes could not ward them off at the pass. But you know who can? Kirsty. Kirsty is not just one of my best friends in the entire world, nor is she just my podcast partner in crime, but she is also my human Leanne slump detector. Whenever I'm getting close to a slump, she spots it way before I do, and she always gives me a recommendation, which immediately just digs me back out of that slump. Kirsty's going to be my get out of jail free card. Any anytime I feel like I'm stuck halfway through a stack or the prompts that I've picked for that month aren't working for me, I am going to draw my get out of jail free card, and Kirsty is literally going to tell me which book to read next. And I'm going to read it, and I guarantee you that it will work because it has always worked every time she's ever done it. We've known each other for like a really long time now. Let's not think about maths, that's scary. And then finally, I have a large and controversial thing to talk about, and it's not just me. 2020 was also the year that I think I firmly and completely have fallen out of love with Goodreads. I have used that site for almost 10 years now, and apart from the fact that it's clunky, the search engine is unusable, a lot of things are broken in it, it's now owned by Amazon, apart from all of the issues that Goodreads itself has, there's also just the issue that I don't have fun with it anymore. I hardly check it anymore. I literally have hundreds of friends requests just sitting there. The only times Goodreads have been relevant in my reading life in 2020 was when I was doing my reviewing my 10 most popular etc. series that I'm going to carry on with in the new year. And so while I don't really want to completely get rid of it, I will still keep adding books on there that I read. I'll do the Goodreads challenge because I like seeing the widget at the end of the year. While I will be doing all of that, I want to find another more tangible for me way of recording my reading. 2 years ago I started a bookish bullet journal, and I was watercolouring in it, and I absolutely love it. I'm an illustrator, that's one of the things that I find such great joy in, but I ended up petering out with it. I didn't keep up with it, and that is because I was trying to record all sorts of stats that meant nothing to me. Stats that to me I was just never going to use, but that seemed like the right things that I should put in a bookish bullet journal. So in 2021 I'm going to try and keep a whole year of a bookish bullet journal which I watercolour, and I will hopefully share with you guys in my wrap-ups at the end. I don't think I'm going to show you the process of painting it every month, because I particularly love that time. It's just time to relax, and when you get the cameras and light boxes etc. all set up to record something like that, I kind of lose the spontaneous love for it because I'm spending so much time wondering if I'm getting the right angle. So I probably won't film the whole painting process because I'm still going to be doing tops and bottoms next year. There's been several missing this year because I haven't been reading enough to put in my tops and bottoms. And finally, my last bookish goal is simply to bring you guys more videos. I started this year really strong, and then when everything with the pandemic hit in the news, I was doing a lot of live streams for you guys, and then I really hit that part of lockdown where everything really kind of sank in for me. I was depressed and I was really struggling, and I stopped filming. But I also find that I feel better when I've brought you content and we've chatted and I've hung out with you guys, and I really miss doing that. So I am going to try to bring you more content in 2021. So yes, let us hope that that was slightly under promising and over delivering on what we're going to do in 2021 instead of 2020, which was the other way around, definitely over promising and under delivering, and then even further under delivering. In fact, just, you know, it just went to shit. Now, as I did mention at the start of this video, I did also go a little bit overboard, just a little bit overboard with book buying at the end of this year. So there will be a couple of hauls, despite the fact that hauls and tops and bottoms seem to be the thing that I've recorded the most in 2020 overall. But then that will be it. No more. We will be into book ban and readathon territory, and I'm very excited for both. So let me know, guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you are planning any kind of book games for yourself in 2021. Will you be joining in with my monthly readathons? I would love to have you. Have you planned any of your goals for 2021, or are you like, 2020 happened, we're planning nothing for 2021? I would understand either of these attitudes. But whichever camp you fall into, please tell me about it in the comments, and I will speak to you all very soon. Goodbye!